Happy Easter, happy Passover. The Pope just gave a very happy Easter to JD Vance because JD Vance was snubbed by the Pope on Saturday, the day they were meant to meet. Instead, he had JD Vance meet with his number 2. Yeah. And Donald Trump gave an insane post today for Easter. Got all that coming right up. So as I said, JD Vance ended up actually meeting with the Pope. I've got some insight on all of that. But the day previously, the Pope decided to skip a meeting with JD Vance and instead had an exchange of opinions with his deputy that touched on immigration, the Vatican said. Pope Francis skipped the Vatican's official meeting with Vice President JD Vance Saturday instead having his number two give the Vice President a lecture on compassion, according to a Vatican statement. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine how embarrassing that must be? You're meeting with the Pope, you're meeting with the Vatican. The Pope says, I don't want to meet with you because you actually should take a pause and just think about what you're doing. I don't think JD Vance will take that in, but I do think it's important to pause and to point out. Pope Francis was absent from Vance's conversation with the cardinal. However, the statement said there was an exchange of opinions on the international situation, especially regarding countries affected by war, political tensions, and difficult humanitarian situations, with particular attention to migrants, refugees, and prisoners. It called for a serene collaboration between the White House and the Catholic Church in the United States, a seeming hint to the tensions that have been brewed between the two since Donald Trump took office. I actually have this picture here from the last time Donald Trump met the Pope, and this man does not have a really good poker face. They look like they were going to a funeral, and he looks like he would wish he could be anywhere else. I mean, I'm not religious, but I feel like for him, this could just be hell on earth, having to meet these three. Jesus Christ, God, we've fallen so far. Yeah, because the Pope does not like what Trump is doing. It's anti-Christian. Happy Easter. If you're MAGA, what Trump is doing is not Christian. It is against the teachings of Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ wanted to protect those who are the most vulnerable in our society. Prostitutes, the homeless, the very poor. He was against the rich. I mean, I'm not telling anything you probably don't already know, but the hypocrisy around what MAGA believes versus the teaching of actual Christ is so glaring, and it's awesome that the Pope, at least the Pope, is pointing that out. I mean, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty wrong with the Catholic Church too, but at least someone is saying, hey, you're making a mockery of religion. Pope Francis has repeatedly rebuked the president's mass deportation effort, calling it a disgrace and a grave sin. The pontiff has also specifically confronted Vance, the highest-ranking Catholic in U.S. government, having converted in 2019. Without mentioning the VP by name, the Pope corrected a Catholic concept Vance had invoked to defend the administration's deportations, order of love. In a February letter, Francis pointedly explained, Christian love is not a concentric expansion of interests that little by little extend to other persons and groups. Yeah. Now, JD Vance eventually did get his meeting with the Pope, but I have to tell you, it was super, super awkward. Just look at this body language of this man does not want to be there at all. Let's just watch a little bit of this.
So good to see you. God bless you. And good morning. How are you?
Find yourself.
Good. Yeah, thank you. Happy Easter to you, Father.
No eye contact.
Wonderful.
And then I thought this was really telling that JD Vance is leaned in. He's trying to get approval from the Pope, and he's just like not having it.
These are for your children.
Not even looking him in the eye. And this is one of the photos JD Vance ended up posting. So it could not be clearer that real Christians are not into what Trump and his administration are doing. And again, this goes back to a previous video I said where what the administration is doing with these mass deportations and these illegal detainments of people who are legally allowed to reside here is a loser. It's a loser. It's first off just bad in general for anyone. Secondly, it's bad for them politically. When the Pope is not even wanting to look you in the eye, you've kind of fucked up, frankly. And Donald Trump also is getting slammed because you might not know it, but eggs are a scarce commodity in Trump's America, and Donald Trump has made them cost more and more through his tariffs and his policies, and now he's getting slammed because he's using 30,000 real eggs for the White House Easter hunt, despite massive U.S. shortages. Quote, they were saying that for Easter, please don't use eggs. Could you use plastic eggs? I said, we don't want to do that, said Trump. But a farm owner says those eggs need to go in people's bellies and need to feed our families here in the United States, not to be played with. Because of the shortage, I don't think it makes sense to waste our eggs on an event giving anything, she said. I could see if the eggs were going to feed people, but to roll them across the lawn, I don't think that makes any sense. It's a waste. It's also a mockery. It's very the rich can have whatever they want, but the poor have to keep scrambling for the basic necessities of life. And Donald Trump gave this insane message for Easter. And I'm going to read it all. This is truly, this is the president's, imagine if this were on like a press release. It should be the same, like what the president says should be important. Happy Easter to all, including the radical left lunatics who are fighting and scheming so hard to bring murderers, drug lords, dangerous prisoners, the mentally insane and well-known MS-13 gang members, wife beaters back into our country. Happy Easter. Also, the weak and ineffective judges and law enforcement officials who are allowing the sinister attack on our nation to continue, an attack so violent that it will never be forgotten. Sleepy Joe Biden purposefully allowed millions of criminals to enter our country, totally unvetted and unchecked, through an open borders policy that will go down in history as the single most calamitous act ever perpetuated upon America. He was, by far, our worst and most incompetent president. This is his Easter message. A man who had absolutely no idea what he was doing, but to him and to the person that ran and manipulated the auto pen, perhaps our real president, and to all of the people who cheated in the 2020 presidential election in order to get this highly destructive moron elected, I wish you, with great love and sincerity and affection, a very happy Easter. So 30,000 eggs that could have gone to needy families being wasted, an insane Easter message, and a pope that has wants to do nothing with this administration. Happy Easter indeed.